Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tech Files Dose of Common Sense. If common sense is supposed to be so common, how come it seems like no damn body has it? And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Dose of Common Sense. How y'all doing? Well, we got a lot to cover tonight, so let's get to it, shall we? Okay, so before we get started with all this, I want to actually address something that was brought up today on YouTube over by the good old friends of ours over at Pocketnow. And what they had discussed was, do flagships have monetary value anymore? In other words, is it worth it to pay a lot for a flagship model? And I'm going to answer this question, no, they're not. You can obtain a lot of the features that are available on flagships for the value of, maybe half the value of what some people are currently paying. The only exception I would come up to would be for those of us in the United States. And here's my reasoning behind that. So, everywhere else around the world, you are pretty much able to purchase the phone that you want to purchase unlocked. That's also available in the United States too. However, with one great big exception. There are a lot of phone models that are not available in the United States, from OEMs such as Huawei, such as Honor, such as Xiaomi, and various other OEMs. Samsung even has a few that are not available in the States. However, those of us in the United States have also been subjected, if you want to call it that, to a price subsidy, which basically means this. Here's how I would describe United States customers and United States carriers. United States carriers have always gone on the subsidy model. In other words, they knock off a dramatic price of the upfront cost in hopes to get it for a cheap price and get the customer in with paying the low price. But at the same time, the customer is subjected to, or they used to be anyway, to the 2-year contract model. Now, they have said, quote unquote, that we no longer have contracts, which in reality, they still do. And those would come in the form of the installment payments that one makes for the phone. And T-Mobile was the first to start that practice, and then other carriers fell into line. Now, until the international markets kind of ship some of their phones over, such as Xiaomi, which I can kind of understand why they haven't done it yet, because they are in real close comparison to Apple. And the minute that Xiaomi would submit some of their products for sale in the United States, at least this is how it used to be, Apple would promptly sue them, of course, because if you look at a couple of their applications, they're a copy. They're not close, they're not closely resembling, they're a copy excuse me, of Apple's camera software, the application itself, and other features that would be available on that. Now, Xiaomi is currently working on, I'm guessing, from what I've read, to make some of their models available, and other models from other not other carriers, but other manufacturers are also now available or starting to become available in the United States. However, they are not available when it comes to the carriers. They are usually available either we have to import them or we have to buy them straight out unlocked. Now, here's the only big problem with that. Until the carriers make more of these models available, you're not going to have much success in getting the value devices over. Now, hopefully that will change, but for the moment, we're kind of stuck paying flagship prices for flagship features, with one or two exceptions in the prepaid area. But unfortunately, the American public is not ready to pay for unlocked phones, or at least the majority of them. For those of us tech geeks and tech nerds and tech enthusiasts out there, we're kind of used to that. For example, I've owned a couple of the OnePlus models, and I know various other friends of mine who have owned models from companies like Xiaomi. For example, the Mi Mix, that was a very, very popular phone for a couple of my friends. One OEM that is kind of famous for not making their models available over here recently, but have produced very good phones, would be Sony. And until they make those available over here, we're kind of going to be stuck on the current system that we're on. Unless, of course, the carriers make more of the models available in the States. So there is that. So I don't believe you have to pay flagship prices for flagship specs anymore. But at the same time, if you're in the United States and you want to get a phone without basically losing your shirt, you're kind of stuck in that position. So you're kind of in a catch-22, so to speak. End of speech. We're going to take a moment here, guys and girls, and we're going to get ourselves recalibrated, and we'll be back momentarily. And we're back, everybody. Thank you so much. Now, let's get to the wonderful events of the evening, shall we? And first off, we're going to start with our friends over at Samsung. And speaking of models that we will never, ever see over here, in all probably, the Note 8 is going to have an Emperor's Edition. Various rumors in the industry that have cropped up over the last couple of days have said we were going to get a Note 8 Emperor's Edition that has 256 gigabytes of storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM. Apparently, they will be in the overseas markets, and they probably, in all likelihood, will not make themselves available in the States, at least in the short term. If anybody's interested in the particulars on this story, the link will be in the show description. If you are interested in hearing more about the Note 8 itself, it will be announced on August the 23rd, thereby beating all the other manufacturers that's going to announce their products at IFA. Good for Samsung, probably bad for most of the rest of the industry. Now, for those of you who are listening to me from the United Kingdom and over in the European Union, O2 admits to throttling their data. And I don't mean by throttling their data by just a little bit. I mean throttling their data all the way to 0.5 megabyte a second. I kind of think that's a complete joke. I thought they had to have been kidding. Apparently they're not. And the reason they say that they're not kidding is because when the EU basically just dismissed everybody's roaming fees on various carriers very recently, here's what happened. The networks got stretched beyond their capacity. O2 extremely overcapacity. We're talking overcapacity by about, I'd say 60 to 70% by the looks of this. So, in all likelihood, they're saying that they will stop throttling within the coming weeks. I hope that's a lot sooner than that, guys, because throttling doesn't work well in the United States. Now, if I'm correct on this, the European Union has a little bit tighter restriction. So, have fun, gentlemen. I think you better take the throttle off of that post now. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of problems. Not only as far as customer relations, but public relations in general. Now, we're going to go away from the mobile data industry for a minute, if you want to call it as such. Microsoft has offered a bounty for up to $250,000 for anybody who would find bugs in their Windows software. Now, depending on how skilled you are as a programmer, or how skilled you could be as a potential hacker, you might be standing in front of a slot machine. Rigged slot machine. Because Windows used to have more holes in it than Swiss cheese. However, they seem to be pretty secure in this particular bounty. So we'll just have to see what happens here. Now that we've covered that for the 5 seconds that it deserves, let's go to Apple for a couple of them. So there is an awesome tweak as far as jailbroken phones through iPhoneHacks.com, and what this does is the pull-down widgets that are available through the notification shade. The tweak will turn the color of the widget into the color of the app icon. I've seen it. It's a pretty awesome tweak, so if you're interested in it, the link will be in the show description. And next up on the Apple dessert tray, we have, that's right, more leaks and renders for the iPhone 8. Now, apparently, Touch ID will not be on the power button, according to various analysts. They are saying that it will be either under the glass. We're back at this again. Either it's going to be under the glass, or it's going to be some kind of a iris unlock. I'm going to answer it like this. You really don't know where the hell this Touch ID is going to be, if there is even Touch ID on the phone. I think we're going to have to wait for the announcement on this one. because you guys can't figure it out if it's going to be there, if it's not going to be there, so on, so forth, and forthwith. So you're pretty much screwed. You ain't going to find out where or if there's going to be a Touch ID on it until Apple pretty much says the word. So there's that. Also, Apple's LCD manufacturer welcome to that world. I don't think anybody was listening to this one live, at least not yet. So, let's get back to this. So, Apple's LCD manufacturer, basically Apple's manufacturer, which is Foxconn, has disclosed plans to build an LCD factory in the United States. And apparently somebody else thinks they're seeing triple vision, because this is only an announcement for one factory. This isn't an announcement for 3. So apparently, Foxconn is going to build a $10 billion factory with the potential for 3,000 jobs. I will believe this one when I see this. Oh, well, that was fun. Thank you, Blue Yeti, again. I appreciate that. Guys, wonderful Texas in the summertime tends to suck, especially when it comes to pollen. So, thankfully, you're probably not here right now. So, next up, remember when we were talking about the Sharp Aquos? Or at least models S1 and S2. Well, apparently they are going to be Sharp Aquos version 2. So, this is going to be reportedly an under-the-glass fingerprint reader. I wish them the best of luck. I honestly don't think they're going to have this set up exactly how it says. But Sharp is supposed to be announcing these particular models shortly, so hopefully we'll get something from somewhere. Link will be in the show description to read the article. Bear in mind, these are rumors. They are not actual facts yet. We're just going to have to wait. And now, HTC. I kind of have to wonder about this. HTC has apparently developed a Vive standalone headset. Problem is, they've only developed that headset for China. Now, whether or not they plan on a future release for stateside, we do not know. Perhaps they are, and they're just using China as a test bed, as various manufacturers do from time to time. So, I will put it this way. If they make the Vive available as a standalone model, the popularity of the Vive and the buy rate of this particular headset will probably outdo Oculus, Samsung Gear VR, and pretty much any other virtual reality headset that's come across. So we're going to have to see what happens on this one. I would keep an eye on this one very, very closely. And we have a little bit of breaking news, depending on how you're going to look at this one. So, here's what the particular deal is. It was discussed today in a forum that YouTube Red and Google Play Music would potentially merge. Lyor Cohen, at a forum discussion, stated that in order for YouTube Music to be, and YouTube Red for that matter, to be a relatively popular service, because not very many people are taking advantage of the YouTube Red, because, or at least nothing that they could really measure, because right now it's combined with Google Play All Access. So for $9.99 a month, you get Google Play All Access and you get YouTube Red. YouTube Red is a version of YouTube that does not offer those stupid, irritating, and annoying ads. Now, for those of you who are stuck on regular YouTube, that's fine, and it's probably not going to be that much of a distraction to take care of these ads. Basically, you have the option to listen to it for at least 5 seconds, and then you can click out of it. However, it was discussed on The Verge, was the original source that broke this particular story. Now, don't pay attention to the link itself, because the link is kind of custom. The link says that they are going to merge. The article, if you actually read it, and the reason I point you to The Verge's article and not to anybody else's is because apparently Pocketnow hasn't reported this one yet, and various other outlets are saying that it's going to happen. I'm saying this, it's probably going to happen, but we're going to be given a very, very long lead time before this does. I mean, look at Google Hangouts. We were told that Google Hangouts was no longer going to be a viable entity after a certain date for SMS. And they were true, but they gave the date as months away from when they actually made the announcement. So we're just going to have to pay really close attention to this particular story. I mean, honestly, I think the merging has to happen eventually. It would decrease Google's and Alphabet's overhead rather tremendously. And a lot of these songs that are available in Google Play Music, they have a video link to them. And that works with YouTube very closely. They've already combined the staffs. So I kind of agree with Michael Singleton on this one. The merger's coming, but it's not official. So the particulars aren't exactly set on this one. And Google hasn't made an official announcement. They did, however, state that when the decision was finally made, they would let the public know far, far ahead in advance. Hopefully it isn't as far ahead as 2020, but you seem to get my point at this time. I wouldn't look for this one anytime soon. I really, really wouldn't. It's probably going to be 2018 earliest. Maybe by MWC. I can foresee an announcement as soon as CES, but that would be a little bit too quick. So anyone that subscribes to Google Play All Access, or if you are really into YouTube Red, I would watch this very closely over the next couple of months. Because I'm sure now that this has not really leaked into the press, but kind of made its way to the press, you're going to hear rumors, you're going to hear stories, you're going to hear a lot of different things, and not all of them will be true. So if and when you hear something, double check. I mean, this story broke maybe 3 hours ago, and I've already heard and read 3 different versions as to what was going down. I'm not going to name outlets because their reporters have to make a living just like I do and just like most of you do. So they're going after the source that they can see. I'm just saying that not all of them are interpreting the data correctly. And we're going to take a flying leap off of Google for a minute, and we're going to go over to our friends over at Big Red. Verizon has had a report done by RootMetrics, which I still think is a subsidiary, and has said that Verizon has won in 47 out of 50 markets for various issues such as data or text or voice. I would honestly really, I can't stress this enough. Read the report. because honestly, where this is going, I don't think even they really know. So they can literally say they have the fastest data in, Columbus. And yeah, they probably do have the fastest data in Columbus. But Verizon, in case you haven't looked behind you lately, you still have 3 other carriers catching up to you. And if some industry analysts are also correct, those 3 carriers are about to turn into 2. And it might become a little bit of an issue. So if you're in a glass house, try not to cast the first stone. So we're going to take this off of mobile for a minute. And we're going to put this on the gaming industry. And by gaming, I mean video games, not gambling. Walmart has apparently canceled everybody's order that went to order the classic Nintendo mini console. Basically, Walmart accidentally posted it on their website way before they were supposed to. And of course, the website got flooded with pre-orders, some paid by credit card, some paid by PayPal. Some of them were even tech journalists. And Walmart has decided to pay the loyalty back by canceling everybody's order and refunding the money. Good for Walmart for refunding the money. What the hell are you doing for the rest of it? I mean, you wouldn't be the first company to take pre-orders months ahead of the actual device. I mean, hell, I can name at least 5 or 6 companies right off the top of my head that has taken orders for phones and computers and smart home products months ahead of availability. I mean, months. HTC had pre-orders for the Vive available 6 months before they even released it. So Walmart just made a whole bunch of customers really ticked. So Walmart, I just hope you can handle the customer service fallout. But I've got one of those odd feelings that you're going to get some fallout from this. There's no way that you're going to avoid it. There's absolutely no way that you're going to avoid it. So I just hope that you can. You can't cancel that many pre-orders. You can't cancel that many pre-orders and not have some fallout from all this. You have got to be kidding. So I would have given them an option. If they still wanted it, confirm the pre-order. Have them bear in mind that it's going to be months before they see the product. And while we're talking about taking pre-sales months ahead of orders, Tesla, if I'm remembering this correctly, the last time I checked, they were offering to take down payments for their new vehicle over a year ahead. So Walmart, this is the part where I want to put this in the you must be high file. But apparently we don't have many people that just decided to take that toke today. So, what do you think about the Walmart story? What do you think about any of these stories? Send me a message. show@techfilesmedia.com. You can send me questions, comments, ask for advice. If you have a product or an application that you would like me to review, you can also email me at that email address. If you require a non-disclosure agreement, we will take care of that. Also, if you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at TechFiles, or you can follow me at TechFiles Media. You can also follow me on Instagram at TechFiles and also at TechFiles Media. This show is available on Apple Podcast, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. digitalpodcast.com, tunein.com, SoundCloud, Podcast Addict, Pocketcast, and of course, as always, this would not be possible without our hosting services at Spreaker. Thank you, Rob Greenlee. You can reach us, as always, at techfilesmedia.com. Any questions or comments, I'll be happy to help answer. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you very much for having me into your homes, your cars, and your ears. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Y'all have a wonderful evening, morning, or whatever the case may be. And we will talk to y'all later. Stay classy. We'll talk to you soon.